There was a time when the world felt too loud, and yet no one heard the silence within me. I walked into rooms filled with laughter, but none of it was mine. They called me too ambitious, too bold, too loud, too opinionated. They whispered behind my back, "Who does she think she is?" And I smiled because I knew. The world was never built for women who dared to dream too big. I was that girl, the outsider, the misfit, the misunderstood. I had no group to sit with at lunch, no arms to fall into after a heartbreak. I had no one to wipe my tears, no one to cheer me on. I was a woman with no friends, but I was never without purpose. Alone, I learned how to clap for myself. Alone, I taught myself to stand tall. When no one opened the door, I learned how to build one. I was told, "You're not beautiful enough. You're not fair enough. Your accent is too strong. Your skin is too brown." But I never asked for approval. I only asked for a chance. And when even that was denied, I created my own spotlight. In a world of glass ceilings, I brought a hammer. In a world that loves labels, I ripped mine off. Yes, I was that woman. The one who sat alone, the one they laughed at but never saw coming. Pain became my power. Isolation became my training ground. Solitude taught me how to speak so the world would listen. When they mocked my dreams, I dreamt harder. When they told me to shrink, I chose to rise. I walked into auditions with trembling hands and walked out with unshakable confidence. I was not just a pretty face, I was fire dressed as flesh. They say you need friends to succeed, but I had something better. I had vision, and vision makes you unstoppable. I lost people along the way. Some left, some I let go. But what remained was a woman who knew her worth. I didn't need validation. I became my own standard. I didn't need saving. I became my own hero. Every insult I turned into fuel. Every rejection became redirection. I worked until the same people who once ignored me now used my name as their inspiration. They said, "She's too Western for India, too Indian for the West." I say, I'm too limitless for boxes. I've walked red carpets alone, built empires alone. I've cried in hotel rooms and still showed up shining, because a crown is not just worn. It is earned in battle, and my battle was surviving in a world that tried to tame me. They called me fake. They said I changed. Yes, I did. I evolved. I didn't lose myself. I found her. The girl who once felt invisible is now impossible to ignore. Don't be afraid to be alone. Don't be afraid to walk alone. Some paths are meant for warriors only, and warriors don't always wear armor. Sometimes they wear heels, sometimes they wear scars, but they always walk with purpose. I turned my scars into my signature, my silence into my microphone. My no friends phase was not a punishment, it was preparation for greatness. I've faced trolls, hatred, jealousy, and still I rise. I am not a victim, I am not a survivor, I am a creator, a force. And you, sitting in silence, hiding your light, you are a force too. Don't let the world define you. Don't let loneliness defeat you. It's not the crowd that makes you worthy. It's your courage to stand alone, to be different, to stay real. A woman with no friends can still move mountains, because friendships are beautiful. But self-respect is vital. I'd rather walk alone in truth than be surrounded by shadows in disguise. The world didn't hand me success. I fought for every inch, with broken dreams in one hand and fire in the other. So if you're that woman today, the one no one invites, the one no one understands, I see you. You are not broken. You are not unworthy. You are simply rising beyond their reach. The higher you climb, the fewer people can breathe where you're going. That's not loneliness, that's altitude. Don't wait for a seat at the table, build your own. And don't be surprised when they ask to join you. You owe no one an explanation. You owe no one your sparkle. Guard your peace like royalty. Not everyone deserves your story. Not everyone earns your energy. You are not here to fit in. You are here to stand out. And when they ask, how did she do it? Let the answer be, by being everything they said she couldn't be. Let them gossip. Let them judge. You just keep growing. The woman with no friends is not lonely. She is focused. She is evolving. And when her time comes, the world will pause, because unstoppable women don't need to be seen to shine. They glow from within. They write their own stories. They take the pain and turn it into poetry. So here's to you, the woman walking alone, the dreamer, the misfit, the one they counted out. You are the storm they never prepared for. You are thunder in heels. They thought silence would break her, but silence built her voice. They thought being left out would dim her fire, but isolation only made it burn brighter. The day they walked away, she learned how to walk alone. No hand to hold. So she held her own. She once begged for acceptance. Now she grants it only to the deserving. She once sought validation. Now she lives by her own permission. She wasn't always strong. She wasn't always bold. But she kept showing up. And that made her unstoppable. Rejection didn't kill her. It carved her edges sharp. She was a statue waiting to emerge. And every no became the sculptor. In her loneliness, she met herself. And that was the most powerful meeting of all. Not in mirrors, but in tears. Not in applause, but in silence. She didn't bloom in gardens. She bloomed in concrete. They left her in the dark, but she grew roots there. Roots of resilience, branches of courage. She's not the same girl who once cried quietly, hoping someone would ask, "Are you okay?" Now she looks in the mirror and says, "I got you." She became the woman she needed when she was younger. The voice, the shoulder, the fire. Her loneliness became legend. Because she didn't run from it, she built from it. Where are her friends? They ask. She doesn't need a circle. She became the center. Loyalty, she gives it. Trust, she earns it. But fake smiles? She doesn't entertain them anymore. A queen doesn't beg to be seated. She walks with her own throne. And if the world turns its back, she turns her pain into power. They called her intimidating because strength terrifies the weak. They called her arrogant because confidence offends the insecure. But she was just herself, fierce, raw, honest. A storm wrapped in grace, a revolution disguised as a woman. They said, she's not relatable. That's because mediocrity never understands excellence. She didn't lower her standards. She raised her life. She's been stabbed by words, betrayed by smiles, burned by envy. Yet she stands. They laughed when she failed, but she learned in silence and returned like thunder, not to prove them wrong, but to prove herself right. She doesn't clap back. She lets her success speak. She doesn't explain herself because truth needs no defense. They tried to erase her, but legends don't fade. They tried to mute her, but her story echoed louder. You'll regret walking alone, they said. But she discovered her power on roads with no footsteps. Her tears taught her tenacity. Her setbacks taught her strength. Her doubts taught her determination. She is made of everything she survived. She lost people, but found peace. She lost crowds, but found clarity. Now she chooses energy over attention, depth over drama, silence over chaos, purpose over popularity. Because she knows, not everyone deserves access to the woman she became. They ask, doesn't it get lonely? Yes, sometimes. But she'd rather be lonely at the top than lost in a crowd that never saw her. She's not chasing anyone. She's chasing greatness. She's not seeking followers. She's building legacy. They underestimated her silence, mistook her kindness for weakness, mistook her distance for defeat. But she was just mastering her storm. A woman with no friends is a woman with no limits, because she doesn't wait for others to carry her. She rises alone, fails alone, and still wins alone. Not because she doesn't need love, but because she knows her worth isn't tied to anyone's presence. Love will come, friends will arrive, but she doesn't wait to live. She lives now because she owes herself a life of power, of presence, of peace. She walks differently now, shoulders higher, head straighter, soul lighter. Not because it got easier, but because she got stronger. And now nothing shakes her. Not gossip, not betrayal, not loneliness, not fear. She's tasted rock bottom and built a castle there. She's cried herself to sleep and woke up relentless. She doesn't beg, she builds, she doesn't compete, she conquers. So if you're the woman with no friends today, the one who's always left out, the one who doubts her worth, listen closely. You are enough, you are rising, you are rare, and you are needed. The world needs your story, your strength, your magic. Don't hide it anymore. Wear your loneliness like armor. Let your pain be your passport. You are not meant to blend in. You are born to break walls. Keep your standards high, your circle small, your purpose loud, and your love deep. This journey isn't about finding people, it's about finding you. And when you find her, hold her close, because she's your fiercest friend, your first home, your eternal fire. Be her, love her, defend her, and become her. A woman with no friends isn't lonely. She's rare, she's rising, she's lightning in silence, fire in human form.